Bună dimineața și bun găsit la BU. Sunt Sabina Iosub și vă invit să rămâneți alături de mine în următoarea jumătate de oră, căci o să discutăm despre felul în care ne poate ajuta ceea ce se întâmplă aici la nivel european în privința agriculturii. Iată.
Obiectivul principal al României la președinția Consiliului Uniunii Europene în ceea ce privește agricultura este negocierea pachetului legislativ legat de reforma politicii agricole comune. Totul se întâmplă în contextul următorului cadru financiar multianual pentru perioada 2021-2027. Alte priorități legate de domeniul agriculturii sunt bioeconomia, inovarea și cercetarea în domeniul agriculturii, proteinele vegetale, precum și sănătatea plantelor și a animalelor. În ceea ce privește pescuitul, președinția va continua lucrările vizând planurile multianuale de gestionare și Fondul European pentru Pescuit și Afaceri Maritime, precum și dimensiunea externă a politicii comune în domeniul pescuitului.
Today here with me in the European Parliament in Strasbourg is Jan Huitema. Thank you so much for your presence.
You're welcome.
We have to discuss about the new challenges in the agricultural area. In your opinion, what are the priorities?
Well, the Common Agriculture Policy has some goals, and I think one of the main is to improve competitiveness of the European agricultural sector. We're talking about environment, biodiversity, climate change, but we should not overlook to make the European agriculture sector also competitive. And I'm trying to do so in the new reform of the Common Agriculture Policy.
What, in your opinion, of course, on what should our presidency, the Romanian presidency, focus on?
Well, it's difficult now because of the European elections, the 22 or 24th of May. So it's difficult to find an agreement now on the Common Agriculture Policy. But I think it's important that we have at least a position of the Council and of the European Parliament to start in a smooth way after the European election. So they should focus to see already what are the different opinions of the different member states and the different members of the European Parliament.
One of our priorities, for example, is to focus on those who are not part of nowadays, not a very good part of what agriculture means. Those are the teenagers and in general people that choose to move to urban areas, let's say.
Yes, well, that's the concern that I have as well, and I see that the agriculture is not attractive anymore for young people, or can be more attractive. It's not sexy anymore. Mm-hmm. So we have to make the agriculture sector attractive again, and I think that's possible. There are a lot of things going on, like precision agriculture, the use of drones, but also to see how we can combat climate change, better animal welfare. But in doing so, of course, if a young farmer wants to take over the farm, he has to have a living, he has to make money. So that's why it's important as well that we make the European agricultural sector competitive and make it attractive again for young people.
What should we do actually to make it attractive for young people? Is it only the money? Because I don't think so.
It's not only the money. But of course, if you cannot earn enough money, you will never do it. But I think it's important as well that we give more trust and more room for entrepreneurship to the farmers. What we should not do is that Brussels make all the different measures what the farmers should do. No, we should
make space for everyone. Let's say?
No, well, set the goals, and how you achieve those goals. Yeah, that's about you. That's upon you how to do so. So you have to have the targets, and that we have to say to the farmer, okay, this is the target. You have to do it, but how you do it, that's about yourself. And I think then young farmers will think by themselves and find it. It motivates them how to do it and think by themselves, instead of that Brussels saying you have to do this and this and this and this, very much in a measured-based way. We should not do that.
What are the priorities for your country?
Well, we have problems with biodiversity. Also, we talk a lot about climate change, but also we in the Netherlands we have a very competitive agriculture sector, but we should keep it that as well. And then the last point, to make it more attractive, the government should give farmers more trust and more responsibility to themselves to reach those goals, and not that the government is saying precisely how they should do it. So more room for entrepreneurship. I think that's a very important one.
You have studied a lot these areas because you've done a master in
Yes.
things regarding farms, and you've discussed a lot with the farmers. What did they tell you?
Well, I'm a farmer myself as well. Together with my parents, I have a farm, and I'm taking over the farm.
In which area?
In a dairy. I have a dairy farm. We have 130 dairy cows in the Netherlands. Now, the main issue, for example, in the Common Agriculture Policy, is that Brussels is saying, okay, these are the greening measures that you have to fulfill, and then the farmer is doing so, and then you can ticking the boxes. But the farmers think, okay, I will do it because otherwise I cannot get my area payments. But what is the result? I don't see the results of the measures that I have to do because of Brussels. If we want to do something on biodiversity on my farm or something on climate change, I think I can do it in a better way and in a different way than Brussels is prescribing me. So again, it's important that we have to set the goals in Brussels, but how to achieve those targets, how to achieve that objectives, that's about the farmer in themselves. So it should much more be an action-based performance, more a delivery model than a measure-based approach.
What made you move from farmer to politician?
Because 80% of the legislation that the farmer is encountering comes from Brussels. And you can do two things, complaining or try to change it yourself in a better way. And I think it's important that we have here in Brussels people that do understand the field of agriculture, have practical and theoretical experience with it. That's why I chose to run for European elections 4 years ago.
Did you feel that you've made some changes?
At some point, absolutely. So, for example, in circularity, I made important improvements. For example, that we use better the different waste streams or rest streams of the agriculture sector. For example, that we can use more organic material to use as, for example, as a fertilizer, and that we are less dependent on mineral fertilizer. That's an important one.
Is it very much still to change?
Sorry?
Is it very much still to change in this area of legislation?
Of course. You see in a lot of aspects that the farmer is more ahead than European policy, for example. So he has a lot of new ideas, a lot of new innovations, but you see that a lot of times European legislation is quite old and is hampering those new ideas or those innovations, and that is a shame.
Bureaucracy is still a problem in this area?
Yes. So it's not unwillingness. Maybe in 1990 we have some legislation that are still applying here, but we're 30 years ahead. At that time in 1990 it was very logical to come forward with that legislation, but now 30 years later the world is changing, agriculture sector is changing, so that legislation should change as well. And that's not happening so far in all the different areas, and we should do it.
Are you trying to stay also in the European Parliament for the next 4 years, or are you going back to your farm?
No, I applied again, and I will be on the list, even on a higher position, so I think I did a good job. And work is not done at all. Like I said, there are still a lot of things that hampering new innovation and entrepreneurship of the farmers, and we should tackle that. If we give indeed more room for innovation and new ideas of farmers, also the sector will become more attractive to young people and new entrants. So a very important aspect.
I'm discussing with you now as a farmer. What are your expectations regarding the Romanian presidency for the next 6 months?
What I really hope of the Romanian presidency, that of course it's naive to say that we have a new agreement on a common agriculture policy, but that we at least have the different positions of the different member states and the different politicians, that we have a good overview of the different positions.
Clearer view, are
absolutely.
you saying?
And that we also find maybe already in some sort of direction what the compromise could be. And what I really hope is that the Romanian presidency focus really very much, what you were saying as well, to make the agriculture sector more attractive. So that means that we should have an agriculture sector that's more competitive, and that European legislation gives more room for new ideas and new innovations. nations.
Let's meet again soon and discuss about how things have changed during this time.
Let's do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your presence. We will focus now on Romania.